Yeah, I can hear you now.
All
What you
right.
said, green light?
Yeah, it's a green light.
Okay.
Green light.
Welcome to Behind the Wall, center of the universe. I am. Mack Marsh, the Moon Man. And free to real. Your specific triumphs and defeats are unique to you to unveil your potential. Mistakes and failures are precisely your means of education. They inform you of your inadequacies. If you can understand this, then you will recognize that the stories that you hear from me is not my glorification of bad behavior and promotion of street life. Let's call it as it is. It's just another chapter in my open book. Read with caution. Hey, no breaks, man. You're a bot mind for putting this thing together, man. Bless up, man. What you got for us today?
Man, bless up, bless up, bless up, man. We got positive vibes, we got productivity, man. And yeah, we're just gonna continue to where you feel me from where we left off before, man. You know what I mean? So we was talking about I guess the time that you was going through that journey with the whole, PCP and drugs, blah blah blah, blah as a habit growing up, and how it had an effect on you, things of that sort. You feel me? And then like, you gave your experiences and like reasons why it's not, safe, basically. You feel me? So
Right.
so stuff like that, but that's all a part of your story and stuff that you went through. You feel me? Like leading up to this situation. So this isn't like to promote anything bad, but at the same time, we're all just gaining perspective. You feel me? So this
Right.
is open for anyone to use in a positive light. You know what I mean? Because when tools are used properly, it becomes efficient. You feel me? It's the best way to use it. But when it's used improperly, you know what I mean, it becomes a problem. So this is a tool people can use properly. But yeah, from when we left off, you know what I mean, just basically before, leading up to the case, like how was life, while you was out, like during this time, you know what I mean, you shaking and moving, you know what I mean, you outside. Just tell us your journey, I guess, like leading, like, from the first time, I guess, like, you start you know, your adulthood and stuff like that. You feel me? You start, going outside and exploring and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
just let us
Okay.
know how that set up and how that looked for you back in the day. You know what I mean? Like being in Wilmington, Delaware, being from that perspective. Around your 20s, 21s. You feel me? Did you have a job? You know what I mean? What was your
Okay.
journey
Okay.
after high school when you first got out and stuff?
O- Okay. Okay. I got you. I got you. Well, like I said, north side. So north side of Wilmington. Came off the porch probably at the age. I mean, it's questionable when I really came off the porch. Store runs and all that. We was always sneaking out, but like really started playing like kind of like the field probably around like 12, 13 or whatever. And so my first block that we had was basically it was 2-4, and like I said, it was the same place where the legendary Bob Marley at Aunt City and Rome that had her little store and all that. But up there at the park, uh, it was the old heads and it was the weed block. Anywhere in the in the city you came through, you grabbed your bud from 2-4. So I came up the porch and basically start hanging with them older cats over there, doing little store runs and going on blunt rides with them. Before I picked up my pack. And then so finally, I graduated and I started pumping weed. And this was different because the poverty that I came from. You know what I'm saying? This was the first time I was able to have like my money. You know what I mean? So
So
from
what
the
made you start like want to do that? Like what made you want to hustle?
well, if okay, so it was different. It was different pressures. One was peer pressure. You know what I'm saying? If I came off my porch, this is what I saw. You know what I'm saying? Everything. And from the music that I listened to the TV shows, it always inspired. I just wanted something more than I had. And then the poverty, of not having and starving and all this other stuff, it was like a no brainer for me. And So you got some because you got me that comes takes this avenue, but I also have brothers that's successful on their own journey. So I can't say it was just because of my upbringing, but I had a lure, a pull towards the streets, and I embraced it. And the fast money is what attracted me to it.
Okay, so it was the your fast money. Okay, and like the peer pressure, like going outside. So what you mean by what was it like growing up? I guess going outside and seeing this. Like, what did you see?
Well, I mean, to me, it was exciting. It was exciting me because all right, from sneaking out late nights. So we'll sneak out and they would have these little parties, these $2 parties in people's basements and stuff like that. Somebody they have a little DJ there playing the music, and then so that was the girls, and then was drinking and smoking, and then anytime we was around the older kids, it just eyes open, ears open, just like a sponge soaking up everything because this was the idols. They had their cars and their jewelry, and they had bad broads with them and all this. So this was you know what was presented to me, you
Mm,
know, I didn't. Like I said, I didn't ever go to high school. You know what I'm saying? I got put to a alternative school where I was supposed to like get right and go back to high school, but that just pushed me more to the streets. So the streets
mm,
was my education from the gate. It was like school was never a part of the future because like I said, it
mm.
failed me since elementary. So the streets was that was the lure.
Okay, when you say school failed you since elementary, what you mean by that? Elaborate.
Well, I mean, because it didn't really teach me anything. I mean, it taught me certain things, but it never teach you really how to learn. And then the way the school system is set up in Delaware, and it's kind of like dysfunctional all the way through the country because the whole thing is like, look how they're paying these teachers the lowest, but you would trust our children to these teachers, but they barely get by. And then the schools is underfunded and there's no materials and all this other things. So when all these other things add up, uh, it's it's the unfairness of it is because if I was prestige and I had money, my family could have sent me to a private school
Mm,
where college is like almost guaranteed, and it's so it just like I was on this side of the tracks,
mm.
and instead of them like somebody really taking me under their wing, like look, this is how you learn, this is how you do this, why are you acting that way? They just pushed me up, and like I said, I got straight F's for 3 years straight. How do you pass a grade with straight failing grades? So by
Mm.
them, it was just like pushing me out of the school and push me to
So
the streets.
so yeah, I do believe like having street smarts, um, I guess is more useful than having book smarts, in my opinion. And I mean like having like street experience and not necessarily hustling, but just having
Right,
experience in life, just actually doing it. That's getting a job versus studying to get a job. You feel me?
right,
Actually going through and seeing what it's like firsthand, live. You know what I mean?
right.
So
Hands on.
yeah, and that's why I believe they're actually getting rid of the requirement of having a degree. They're actually looking more at the experience of these people versus having these degrees now. And it's going to become a point where these degrees will not matter, and it's basically they paid what, like maybe 20,000, 30,000, however much they pay for a piece of paper that no longer matters. But
Meaningless.
yeah, so
Yes.
I do feel like they should be forgived and actually reimburse that money for real. Like
Yeah. Well, if
because
you if if you look at old school, you go back to like ancient history almost. It wasn't about degrees. It was about you got an apprenticeship. And so apprenticeship in a sense is almost a street smart. It's basically it's hands on. So instead of me being in the classroom, you on the job, on the scene, and then so it's more value behind that. But I think the value of school, especially in college, is all about networking. You know what I'm saying? So I think, them people that go to college, it ain't even about the degrees. It's about who you gonna network and who you rub shoulders with and who you be in a room with. So now once you come out, you know this person here and he's in banking and this person here and they're CEO of this and all. So it's all about connection. That's how the rich stay rich in their family and all that other stuff. When you're on the opposite side of coin and you're not in that mode, you're just going, like you said, for this piece of paper that's not guaranteeing you a fortune down the line, but it's guaranteeing you're going to have to climb out of debt. So yeah, but that was never an option. And it's
Right.
the same to say, like if you look at the side of the coin, how many of my relatives actually went to college,
Mm.
and that number is that percentage is way low than somebody on the other side of the track.
Right.
So it just seemed like it wasn't wrote in my future. So like I said,
So
I embrace the
so
block, man.
so do you believe that's like the common reason of why like everybody possibly hustles then? Like what do you believe? Like because you know, like everyone has their own experiences, but at the end of the day, I asked that question and I'm like, going into that question, it could have been one of the five things.
Say that last part again. You broke out on that
Oh
last
yeah.
part.
Oh yeah, I apologize. So yeah, going into that
You
question.
have 1 minute remaining.
Answer the question. Ask me the question again, and I'm gonna pull right back up. So go
Nah,
ahead.
yeah. So I was basically saying like going into that question, and when I asked you like why you started hustling, I be thinking like it's common. Like I be thinking like I guess everyone kind of starts for those reasons. You feel me? And like it's a pattern. It's like because I could have like kind of like I mean like um it it would have been three of these five reasons. I could have possibly been like, yo, if it wasn't this, it was that, because it's like everyone is kind of cornered into a certain position of where that becomes a career and stuff in that predicament. You know what I mean? So do you think like why is that? Why is it set up like that in the
Thank you for
hood?
using GTL.
Okay. I try to, you know what I mean? Because I know I know it took a minute. Whew. Sorry about that, y'all. But yeah, I was just basically asking like, why does he think that's the reason, or like, why does he think it happens that way, or that's the outcome? You know what I mean? Like, what what solutions can we take, or what solutions can we come up with to fix that, so in the future the youth don't have to sell drugs or rap to quote unquote make it out financially, because making it out of the hood is like a mindset. You know what I mean? And to get that mindset, you have to kind of change. Well, you have to change your environment, and if you don't change your environment, you still have to change your friends and everything like that. So yeah.
Thank you for using GTL.
Oh boy.
Yo, we back, man. I'm sorry about that. We back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Yeah, my service. So yeah, basically I was saying like, what are some solutions that we can like, or basically why is it, or how is it set up for the youth to basically, I guess, have to hustle, or because it's usually the common, like these are the common reasons of why like kids or people growing up, like young adults, start hustling because they feel like they was failed with these public school systems in their environment, and then on top of that, they're faced with poverty to where they can't afford stuff, and to make them want to like go out there and actually get their own money. And they see the holidays and people, that's another reason why I don't really celebrate holidays or anything, because these holidays can be also used in a negative light, because when they see this, they're like, okay,
Consumership. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they want that because
Well,
they think the other side, huh?
I think you just said it all. And you got to see. All right. So look at a young man that's raised on. It's two sides of the track. So we got the privileged side, and we got the unprivileged side. So the one that's raised on the unprivileged side, look what he's faced with. So the hardest thing is for that person to Heisman Trophy, do the Heisman to all his environment, and make it through school and good job and be successful. That is the hardest thing. The easiest thing is the hustle, because you got to think, we program from the music we listen to the movies we watch, to the people we see, to our neighborhood. So
Mm.
all these factors come into play, and it's overwhelming. And it's like, okay, these are breadcrumbs. I'm gonna just pick them up and eat them. And then it's like because we don't have no generational wealth. So it'd be different if I was born and I had an inheritance. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I had a trust fund and I had all these things, these things. Then it was like, okay, me to climb to the top, or as you say, the American dream, but beyond that, for me to even be, you know, wealthy and rich, you know what I'm saying? I have a better chance if I had these type of resources. But if I don't have these resources and I'm from that opposite side of the track, when we see hustling, we seeing, yo, like it's possible that I can get into this game and I can become a millionaire. And so that carrot is always dangled, and that's always, you know what I mean, not knowing that, you know, everything is still stacked against you. But you gotta think it's by design. So to even to say how can we fix that? You gotta think this, like I'm always gonna say, the system isn't broken. It's working perfectly fine. Because like they've been saying, we don't own no poppy fields, we don't own no artillery with all these guns. We don't have access to all this. So somebody on a bigger level and a bigger scale is bringing this in the hood and flooding it in the hood.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we at the bottom of the food chain, and so we come off the porch. It's like, okay, opportunity. Look, drugs, I can sell it. I can be something. And then not knowing that that's the design for you to do that, for us to kill each other, for us to become addicted, and then for us to come through the prison system. So that cribs to correction is in play, and that program is working perfectly fine.
Okay. So all right, we're gonna get back to the you know what I mean. So we're gonna speed it up a little bit because I know time is ticking. You know what I mean. So yeah,
we flowing.
We
Yeah, we're gonna give them
flowing.
a long extended version of this one. But where we at now?
Yeah. So all right. So you said basically, I mean, when you got out, you basically started hustling because you know your environment, things that you wanted, you know, multiple reasons. So like when you started, you said you graduated, you know, to the herb, whatever the case is. So like what was
Right.
like you seeing then? Like what was the money like? Like was it like worth was it
What's the
worth
last
it?
thing you said?
Like yeah, was the money that you made off of this like hustle worth it? You feel like?
See, all right. So now, when I'm very posed with these questions, because I'm a person that has no regrets. You know what I'm saying? And you look at it like, yeah, boy, you sitting with 388 years plus life, and you don't regret anything. Nah, because I'm whole and I love what I am today, what I became. Now, if I would have went a different route, I'm not the same person I am today. Now, given that said, if this is presented to the next man, no, of course not. It's not worth it. It's a trap. So if you take that, it's a trap for you to get put all the way through the system. So it's really not worth it. But don't look at the flip side of it. I started to learn how to learn in jail, in corrections. I got in jail what I couldn't get in the school system. I read my first book behind bars before I read it in the school system. So all these things, these factors, like, you know, they say pressure can bust pipes, but it also can create diamonds. So for the next person or something, nah, absolutely it's not worth it. It's a trap. Now, when I did it, I have no regrets. I love my life. So, you know, to answer the question.
Okay. So, do you feel like you had to go this route to learn what you learned?
Okay. To learn what let's see, dumb questions is okay. So it's like yeah and no. Because mind you, this route, you know, got me what it got me, but what I took advantage of the situation and maximized every moment, you know, I got a different type of learning, like, you know, from a spiritual joint to my body to my temple. So I don't know if I was living out there, like I'm more freer locked up in the shoe program than people out there that's out there on the streets. And so now if I don't go the route that I go, am I sleepwalking like majority of mankind? That's a question. So I really have no regrets because God's plan, I'm living it. And, you know, if I have to be an example, if I have to be a martyr, wherever the case may be, I'm signing on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I
So
think
from
I
a
had to go
spiritual
through fire to come out as the phoenix.
from like a spiritual perspective, I guess from a spiritual point of view, it's like
Yeah.
God had this written for you. So it's like, you know what I mean? Is that where you coming from when you say like,
Right.
you know, there's
Yeah, it was a
no
path.
regrets?
It was a path. We have right. It was a path. We have many paths, but I believe that I had to go through the fire. Maybe my story saves 100 lives. Maybe it saves one life. Whatever the case may be, I don't regret it because the experience and this type of it's just the school of hard knocks basically. So would I recommend it for the next person? No. If I knew I had to go through this, would I still sign on to it? Probably not. But since I lived it and I'm living it, I'm like, okay, no regrets. So for the next person, like I said, don't try this at home. But me, I'm gravy.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, growing up, what are some more like things you used to get into? Like, I mean, did you take trips? Like I guess at this stage,
Well, okay. Well, so like I
when it
said,
came to like, what did
starting
you
from the
do?
weed block.
Yeah,
So the
like,
weed, weed money is, they call it the gateway drug. But weed money, it put money in my pocket. I was able to go ahead and, get a nice lay. You know what I'm saying? Nice set, nice sneaker, haircut. Girls started, paying attention to me. But mind you, it still was just crumbs. You know what I'm saying? By the time I scored again, you know what I'm saying, I spent a couple $100 on this, whatever. So it was a comfortable, like I was something, and it at an early age. So this wave right here, it opened up other doors. And so now, like, we taking trips to Philly and, we're going to clubs, so this opened up like the avenue of all that. But mind you, it was chump change. So I think, okay, so I'm going to tell you one story real quick. So a story was, all right, so I'm, play the weed block. It do good. We would bag up a pound of weed, and all nickels, and that thing be going in 2 days. And so this block did numbers. But like I said, we was getting, we ain't had no super plug. I ain't had no super plug. So it was just enough. By the time I scored again, it tricked it all off. I was broke again. But one day I was with my man's, like he seen me. So I seen him. He was always some person that walked in, rest in peace, KP. And so he like, yo, what's up? So we just start chatting. And he was like, I had just bought a car from the auction. And I was coming down by my grandma's house, like in a nice neighborhood by on the north side by Hanks Park. And some girl start flagging me down. She like, yo, so it's a nice ice cream joint. So, I'm in this V8, this big hoopty joint. I pull over, boom. I'm like, yo, what's up, Ma? She like, hold on. So she runs up to the car. She like, that's my brother's car. You stole my brother's car. So I'm laughing. I'm like, because I know it ain't stolen. But I'm like, she cute, so I'm trying to bag her. So she yelling for her brother. So the bull comes out. It's my man. It's the bull that I always see, KP. So I'm like, yo, what's up? He like, girl, that's not my car. My car blue. He like, yo, what's up, Mac? I'm like, yo, what's up? He like, boom, boom. So from there, because I'm trying to get the girl, we start chatting. So we all go to the park. We smoke, all this other stuff. So me, I just always had this, I gravitate, like when I meet somebody and I feel like it's that soul is right, like we just become inseparable. And it might last for a month, a year, whatever the case may be, but I log all the way in with that person. So me and him build this rapport. So now we like become almost inseparable. But I was watching his moves, and like I said, I sold my little weed. So home girl, I would give her like some nickels, and like I'm telling you, my bags are so miserable. They call one of my nicknames was Mac Sham but I give you 6 for 20. I got deals and everything for you. But anyway, I used to give her like a pack, and she would go where she went, and she'd come back with straight money, and I'm like, hey, where you selling that at? So anyway, I logged it in the file cabinet. So I'm dealing with, so me and him chatting. So I'm looking at him. He stay fly, hair stay done, and all other stuff like this. So we get a blue ride, and a blue ride is basically a car that a fiend or junkie or whatever, rents you out. You give them drugs, and they get the car.
right.
So we in a blue ride, and we go to his man's crib, and so they're in there gambling. They shooting dice all night. So he loses all this money. So we can't wake up the next morning. He like, yo, come on. So it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, where we going? He like, yo, just come on. So I'm like, hey, sleep. I get in the car. We pull up somewhere. He parks. He's like, just wait right here. So I go, I'm in his sleep. I'm knocked out. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm knocked out. So he get back in the car like an hour or two later. He give me some breakfast. I eat the breakfast. I go back to sleep. So he get back in the car like an hour later. We pulling off. So he like, yo, here, count this. And then so I start counting up. It was like $1,600. So I'm like, yo, he was just broke. He was like, man, I just did that out there just now. I'm like, whoa. So I'm like, okay. So I'm watching. I'm just watching a movie. So he go do the same routine. We go to the mall. He go get his hair done, and then he go gamble. And then so next time he goes out, we pull up. He like, yo, it's hot. He said, hot out here right now. He said, yo, come stay in my people's crib right quick. So he introduced me. We come at 7 o'clock in the morning. There's two guys that's laying on the couch. So at this time, I think I was on probation, so I ain't smoke weed, but that's what I was selling. So I pull up on and he wakes him up like, yo, this Mac, this is Ace, this is Marquise. So I'm like, yo, what's up? And they like, what's up? So they half sleep. So my first thing is I'm like, yo, y'all blow? They like, yeah. So I pull out like 4 nicks. I'm like, yo, go ahead, go get some Dutches. So they're like, cool. So they go to the store. We start playing the PlayStation. And then so he comes back in like a couple hours later, like, come on, you ready? And then something told me, I was like, nah, I'm going to just chill over here. You know what I'm saying? Because I already see what he'd get into. So I'm like, I'm going to just chill over here. So he's like, I'm going to just come back later. So he leaves, and I become linked up with these guys. Now, come to find out, this was a dope block. And yeah, this block did numbers, but this block was extremely hot. So mind you, the home chick that I was giving the bud to, this is where she used to sell it at. So I'm watching, I'm like, yo, it's money over here. So anything, if you know about Wilmington, so you got the north side, you got the west side, then you got Riverside, then you got east side, then you got South Bridge. So that's like the 4 corners of Wilmington. Well, 4 or 5, whatever. And so, but as far as when I say dope, we talking, like we say, we're not glorifying them, but it's just facts. So we talking heroin. So it's only 3 places in the whole city at this time that you can get this. And this was one of the blocks. It was Riverside, it was East Side, and it was 3rd and Harrison. And so, but it's so extremely hot, but it's numbers. Like you come out on this block, you do $1,000 in an hour, 2 hours, something like this. It's just unreal. It's different than the weed stuff. So anyway, I wouldn't come off the porch. I would sit.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Yeah, I would sit on the porch, and they would call me when somebody wanted some bud. And then I serve them and I go back on the porch. You know what I'm saying? And then one time we was talking about going to Cancun. They was like, yo, we go to Cancun. You know what I mean? Boom. I'm like, yeah, I ain't got that type of bread. They like, yo, you might as well get some of this D. Might as well get some of this dope and run it up. And so they introduced me to one of the Jersey boys. Rest in peace, my man Wani. And I bought my first bundle, $100. And I entered the D game.
Thank you for using GTL.
Interesting. Okay, so this is him growing up, you know what I mean? And just his experiences and his story, right? And these is just some a lot of the things a lot of kids growing up in the hood face and challenges they face, right? And obstacles and decisions they have to make, judgments, you feel me, has to be on point growing up in these type of environments because you're faced with people around you that will, I guess peer pressuring you and offer you things, things of that sort that may be like a solution, may seem like a solution, but can also, hurt you if you don't do the proper research behind it. So, this is just like, a story just to, go off of, man, all positive vibes, though, all positive vibes. We're not glorifying anything. I mean, all love, all
Hello,
love.
this is a prepaid
This
call
is something
from.
we all learn from.
Mac.
Thank you for using GTL.
Noble.
Yo, we back at it.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that was my introduction into the D game, and so now, with permission from one of the heavy hitters that was on the block, I start pitching, and so I kind of knew logistics. And you got 2 ways you got to take over. You got take over by force, where it's like, man, I see this block, and I'm gonna come out with my guns and my goons, and you know what I'm saying, lay it down, and that definitely doesn't work out 100% of the time because you didn't make the block high, and then it's beef and it's killing, you can't make money and all that. It's a finesse way, and so by these small introductions, I was kind of like to befriend certain people, and so now I'm from North Side with no connection to West Side, and I'm on one of the top blocks in the city, and so mind you, I got that first thing from him. I go out there, I move, and then I go back, and so within that day, I make like $600-700 just real quick, and then so I start looking at everything else, but mind you, I wasn't all the way out there, so it was a New York guy, all that ran the blocks too. So it was Jersey and New York, basically, they was in position. So I got with this guy, even though his D wasn't the best, but I understood his
Pause.
his
No
level
diddy.
his level on the food chain.
No
What'd
diddy.
you say?
I said pause.
Yeah. So basically, So I got in with him and I started grabbing off of him. So I was grabbing off of him and then I was grabbing off the other guy. And then so mind you, because I was like different, so I took more risks and chances. So like I said, this is a hot block. And the police can come from like 4 different angles. But when the cars pull up, you know, it's like 5 different. This old school. If you anybody watch The Wire or even what is that other one? People don't know about that one. We're just gonna go with The Wire. They like it's stamps. Each package has a stamp on it. So the fiends that come through, the addicts that come through, let me correct that. The addicts that come through, they know which stamps are good and which stamps aren't. So everyone is yelling out a stamp. Hey, yo, I got NyQuil, I got Taliban, I got this, you know what I mean? So they listening to what they do, but you got to run up to these cars because it's 5 different people trying to make one sale. And as they see the right name, you give them the joint, snatch the money, you keep it moving. But while you're in that mode right there, police swing the corner, you got no choice but to run and all this other stuff. So I took more chances, me and my other boys, so we was kind of like top on the block when it came in because we took more chances. And so mind you, everything was flowing. Now, my cousin had came through. I ain't gonna say no names, but my cousin had came through, and he was hanging with the Riverside Bulls. And so the Riverside Bulls had the same. They had the best in the city. But I used to tell myself, I'd never go in Riverside. Just like when you hear Riverside, it's the projects. It's the projects of our city. It's one of the projects. So he introduced me to his mans. And so I got something from them, and it's the best. So, but my cousin ended up getting locked up. So I started, like, I had to go through Riverside and start, like, yo, y'all know such and such and such. So, I'm inside the projects. They pull up, like, who you? So I pull up, they tell me park. I power out the car, and they was like, they looking at me. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm such and such cousin. And they like, oh, yeah. Oh, you related to the Marleys, boom, boom, boom. I said, yeah. So I was in. So I ended up grabbing off of them. So mind you, I got a triangle thing. I'm grabbing from them from River. I'm grabbing from over there. But mind you, I'm keeping the Riverside thing on the low because they didn't like, you bringing that type of D over on the west side. So I used to add it in. If I'm there, there'd be 5 people, and they naming their stamps, I would just name this Riverside stamp, and they'd be like, I want that. So anyway, jealousy started happening on the block. And it was this one girl, she couldn't stand me. She was a hustler, like bull dyke type girl, and she couldn't stand me. And then so one day I would call the Riverside Bull, but I would meet them like 2 blocks up. And so they came through in their Q45. I jumped in the car, bought my stuff. So I hop out the car. And I'm heading out the car. She drives by. She sees it. So mind you, she goes and tells the New York Bulls that I'm dealing with the Riverside Bulls. So it's one summer day. So we out there, and she's out there screaming. She's like, yeah, and you bring that Riverside D over here. Da-da-da. So it's this guy, Frank Nitty, this bull, live wire from New York. He was like a bully. So she was telling him to try to get them against me. And so he's ready to move out. But I had one secret weapon, and I dealt with his boss. So his boss intervened like, oh, I don't care what y'all say about Mac. He said every day he comes and sees me and grabs. So I don't care what all that, and none of y'all gonna boo. So anyway, I got a green light, a G pass, and a protection, and that block became mine. I, embraced it. And then like Hov said, man, before you look up, I'm selling the town cook up. So that was my introduction into the D, into that block, and then moving forward, I end up, now I'm pumping down the projects, and then so I'm out here and I'm all that. So all that expanded into that, and to even move forward as we already flowing, that became, a lot of our clientele came from Maryland. So one particular day, one of my connectors, because the whole design is to get the money off of the block. So you put it on your cell phone. So first we started with beepers and all that, but the block is hot and it's dangerous. But if I can, while I'm on this block, everyone that spends $100 or better, I just give them my phone number. And then so, call me. And so now when they call me, I don't meet them on the block. I meet them in the nice neighborhood. Yeah, don't go over here. Come over here. And so they love that. So the whole time I'm taking money from the block and doing everything. So now you don't even see me on the block. I just got my phone jumping. And then so one particular day, somebody turned me on to somebody, and they gave my number. Okay, so they come to see me. They come to grab. So I serve them. And we got the sick though. We on North Side, so I serve him and stuff. So he like, yo, he showed me a jar, some exotic in it. I'm like, yo, what's up? Sell me that. And he like, nah, I smoke it with you though. So I wasn't doing nothing. He was like, yeah, just take a ride with me. So I get in this car. He got his little system bumping and stuff. I roll up. We blowing. So he zigzags, goes outskirts of of Wilmington. So he comes to like Newark, the suburbs area. He picks up this girl and her kid. Then we still drive. Then he pulls somewhere. So I don't know where we at, but we pull up into this garage. This garage open up. We pull up into this big old house. So I put the weed out, and he like, yo, what you doing? I'm like, you probably can't blow in here with your peoples, because this boy like my age. He like, nah, this is my crib. I'm like, what? Who live here? He's like, just me, and I got a roommate. So I step into this joint. This joint got a backyard, a basement, dining room, it's furnished, it got leather, it got 3 bedrooms, this room got jacuzzi. Like this joint, nice joint. So I'm like, oh shoot, so I'm just sizing it up. So my phone is blowing up. And people hit my phone, boom, boom. So I'm like, yo, I'm not around. So one dude was like, yo, man, what's up, man? When you gonna be around? I was like, man, in a minute. He's like, man, where you at? I'll come to you. I'm like, man, I don't know where I'm at. So I asked the boy, I'm like, yo, where we at? He said, we in Maryland. So I tell him I'm in Maryland. He like, what? Where at in Maryland? He like, we in Elkton. He said, Elkton? He said, I'm in Elkton. He was like, dog, where are you at? And I said, the boy told me, he was like, man, tell him Royal Farms. So I said, I'm at the Royal Farms. He said, dude, I'm 2 minutes away. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I had something on me. I went over there, met him. I served him. Somebody else called me. It was the same routine. So when I served them, they was like, yo, if you stay out here, you will kill him. And I thought about him like, you're right. Most of our clientele come from out here. So now my man, the dude that I went out there with, I'm sizing this crib is nice. And his roommate is a junkie. Well, it's an addict. So I kind of manipulated the situation. I'm like, yo, what's up, you Miles, man? Kick him out. Let me get that room, man. And so with addict wouldn't want to live with the dope man. So I embraced that. Dude got kicked out, and now this became my house. And then so now I'm sitting out Maryland and answering my phone and doing this, come through the city from this. And then when I'm bringing girls out here, like the crib is so nice and so furnished, you couldn't tell me I wasn't a boss. So that became my Maryland experience. And then from that, the game got a little hectic. I think this was around like 05-ish, 04, 05-ish, and that's when that little fentanyl started coming around. So this is the first wave of it. So I was scared of that. I'm like, man, dudes is dying off of that. You're not ready to give me no charge of that. So I'm kind of ready to like bow out of the dope.
So that was something back in the day too.
Yeah, because this is the second wave of it. So yeah, fentanyl had hit around like 04. They started lacing the dope with it, and people was falling out with it, and it was like certain dopes that had it and all that, but it wasn't as big as it hit this time. But yeah, it was back then, and yeah, that's when I got to like try to find an exit route for the dope game, because it looked like it was dying out. And yeah, so I think, all right, so I'm out in Maryland, so mind you, this Maryland town become mine. I stayed away from like the hood parts. They got Wine and Brook, and you got the Manor, all these hoods. That's where I liked it to be with the, proper. I like to be with the white boys. You know what I'm saying? So it was this neighborhood. We stayed in a nice neighborhood. In the neighborhood we stayed in, all the houses was like 300,000 and more. You know what I'm saying? Up to like $500,000-$600,000 houses. But right across the street was like a little cul-de-sac, but it was like townhouses. It was like lower income. So I used to go over there. I met some guys over there. I used to do my like dirt over there more than I did in a nice neighborhood. So it was this one guy over there. He was from Philly. He was living there with his family and stuff. So we used to chill and stuff. And this is around the time where I got introduced to juice was real big. As they call it, what is that? The styrofoam cups and the remix, right?
Yeah, lean and
Yeah. So I had jumped in that game late. Like I know my peers was in it in the early 2000s. I never messed with pills and none of that. But this late game, I started I started getting the juice. So, but my thing was the yellow. So it was the Tussinex. So you had the promethazine, the Tussinex, and you get the Xannies and all that other stuff. So anyway, this Philly bull, he was from Philly. So he used to introduce me to his other people, and we go up there and we get juice and all this other thing. So one day, his neighbor, we sitting at his neighbor's crib, and his neighbor, he's like, we sitting in the crib, we blowing, and my phone ringing. I'm going out busting jugs, busting joints, and then his phone ringing. He busting out, but I'm looking. I'm like, what is this dude selling? So so I start plotting again. I start watching them and stuff. So we cool, we blowing. I had my little puppy. My dog used to stay over there, and so my dog playing with his dog. We smoking. I'm seeing he doing money. So he's counting up his money. I'm like, damn, this just made 3-4 bands. So he was like, one day he was like, yo, ride with me. So I'm like, all right. So this white bull, and me, and the Philly bull, we go up Philly, and he goes meets this other Philly bull. So they do their business. Then the Philly bull introduced me to him as his cousin. So he's like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, yo, boom, boom. So he asked me what I do and all that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a D boy, you know what I mean? Boom. So he like, yo, you ain't never messed with these? So I'm like, what's that? And he showed me the pills. It was the Oxycontin. So I'm like, man, I don't know nothing about them. He was like, yo, this is where it's at. So I'm like, man, I don't know nothing about that. He was like, how much money you got on you? I said, why you ask that? He said, man, I'm going to do something for you. How much you got on you? I think I had like 1100 on me or something like that. So he was like, here, give me that. So he gave me that. I gave him that. And he gave me like a little handful of pills. So I'm like, hold on. Because I know with that much money, if I had bought some perks or some Xannies, I would have had 100 or better, 200 pills. He only giving me like 20, 30 pills or whatever the case. So I'm looking like, nah, look, man, I'm charging you this time. I'm charging you $30 a pill. He said, but you know, it's like $34 a pill. He's like, but yo, you go down there, you sell it for 55 to 60. So I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, I'm telling you. So I just like, I'm flowing with it. We go back to the city. So mind you, as I'm trying to exit the D game. So as my D boys call, I'm like, yo, I got these joints. So they turned me on to a couple people, but they wanted what they wanted. So I serve a couple of them people them pills. And so mind you, I'm like, I'm done with the D game. So I gave my D phone to my cousin. I'm like, yo, here, take this. Boom, do your thing. So it wasn't, I was basically, I was kind of comfortable with my money. I don't know what I was planning on doing, but I jumped all the way into this. So it was one particular, it was slow, like, for me to move this. So one particular day, I leave, I go over to the white boy crib, and then I end up leaving. But I busted sale. I came back, and he had my dog food sitting by the door. So I'm like, why is my dog food sitting by the door? So his roommates that I dealt with, they like, yeah, he was cussing you out. He said, man, you got to get your dog and go. So I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. So I took my dog food. I took my dog. I took him to my other crib. So
you have 1 minute remaining.
I said, this is what I'm going to do. So I sat right next door, and all his clientele that came through the door was pulling up. He's still in the house. I'm like, yo, he's selling them for 50, 55. I'm like, yo, I got them for 40. They like, what? So they like, are you certain? I'm just pull up, I'm showing them. So they come and start grabbing on. So a couple people was like, nah, and didn't trust it. But majority of people just $40, somebody say $20, $15, they start grabbing off me. I gave him my number, so I just stole his whole clientele. So when I went back up to score from he like, yo, you fucking the game up. I'm like, what you mean? He said, yo, you can't sell them for that. And that. I said, look, I'm coming, I'm bringing you bread. Look, I'm coming, I got 3 bands now. He like, nah, you messing up my money with him. He owe me money and all this other stuff. He said, man, can you just lay off of him and all that? And by that time, I had enough clientele, so I was like, cool. So at that moment, a relationship started. I became the pill bull.
Thank you for using GTL.